heights I'm going to leave that alone for now. And right up here is we got stock to leave, optimal load, and let's see, maximum stay down, and this should have, where's the optimal load? So I have this programmed to be 25% of the tool diameter. So this has already been preset, ready to go. So we hit that. Oh, it didn't do everywhere. Why didn't it do that? Stock contour. Oh, we don't want that. Hit OK. It's jumping around. Hit edit. I had the rest machining on. That's why it's kind of giving me problems. But that tool is able to get in there and do the job, even though it's tiny. But the step overs were automatic because I didn't have to go fudge that. So it pretty much was, oops, wrong one. I got tool, feeds and speeds are done. Geometry on 2D I had to select. No stock contour, no rest machining because it's different than 3D. Heights, I could even go like model top, select a contour, retract height. Optimal load is going to be my side cut. That's already been determined, and stock to leave, side and bottom. Climb mill and stay down. And I like having these new settings in here. Lift height and non-engagement feed rate. So my slowest machine will go 400 inches a minute feed rate. So that's Mastercam uses this more called micro lift. And if I do 70% stay down, I think a lot of people use between 50 and 70. Let's go 60. Let's try that out. And I also have this turned on for time calculation, which is in preferences. Manufacture and show operation machining time. So I could tell right off the bat if I'm making improvements or not. Or if I thought that looked kind of wimpy, let's change this to 0.003. And it updated cutting feed rate and lead in, lead out, and ramping. So hit OK, and it saved a little bit of time. Another setting on here also is going to come into play now is machine selection. And I've started to set up machine selection. So this one I was starting to set up for total machine simulation, but if I selected, let me just pick something here. I'm actually going to pick the machine, TM1P, and I put up some parameters in here, select, and I hit OK. Now if I went into here and I hit edit, and I selected a tool that had more RPM that I go 30%, hit select. This is 8100 RPM. Gonna regenerate. Right there, it gives you a warning. Spindle speed is larger than for supported machine. Do you want to ignore this warning? I thought this was pretty good. I actually thought Haas should have this, that if you have an RPM in the G code and it's more than the machine can do, you should be aware of that. Because you might be moving jobs around, you got a machine shop that's got different machine RPMs. So I'm going to hit no. So that forces you, I got to do something here. I'm like, oh, I'm using tools. I either got to manually change the RPMs, but that little warning there. So because I have in setup tab machine selection. So if I go to edit the machine, I got machine, there's a lot of stuff in here. I haven't filled out a lot of stuff, but automatic tool changer, milling, what the maximum feed rate is. They have millimeters or inches. So if I went to inches, it's 400 inches a minute. And how far I can travel, yeah, rapid and max feed rate, machining time, like tool change time, coolant, post-processing. Another good point of this, if you have select a machine, it's automatically going to select your post-processor. You don't have to go hunting for it. I've had it happen where I did a lathe job and it was trying to select the lathe one. So this one will automatically select one. So you want to start setting up your machine config. And this will come into play with the new machine simulation, but just for those functions right there is a good plus. So I got machine. So let me go back here and select a better tool. I'm going to go select. I'm going to go back into the basic aluminum library, the 3/8 end mill. I'm going to go back to 3D adaptive, hit select. Done. This is all done right now. I don't have to change anything. Alright, so notice my step over is different. That's all in my presets. You normally used to have to go in here and change all this data and not knowing exactly what it does. Optimal load is sideways, that's 2D adaptive, and you can actually set these as make it a user default. Like I put in this 10,400 as a default. Okay. So the pluses on that, let's post-process the social. Right now, this is automatically selected. I don't have to go reselect any of that. I'm going to post. And I'm going to just put this on my desktop. Going to review the code. Right there, I changed it to use G0 instead of G1s with the high feed rate. It actually shrinks the code a little bit, and it gives me more control when I'm running a job that if I do rapid overrides instead of I have feed rates that are running real fast, so I want to have more control. So right here I got my tool list. I made a couple of edits so I can get all this data in here, like a timestamp. And right here, notice it puts in a 3/8 end mill because I spelled that out in my tool library. So if I'm in the middle of the program and rerunning this, I can tell what end mill it is by number or by name. Yeah. So I made some other videos on code shrinking, especially when you get into these code files that end up with a lot of data. There's a couple of ways you can do it, and one would be smoothing parameter. This is like a smoothing on adaptive that can definitely be done that. So smoothing tolerance, you could easily make this 0.003. That'll create any possible arcs out of lines. What else do we have here? That's about it for there. Hit OK. And the other one would be in your post process, but you can make these all defaults. I don't use any sequence numbers. You can shut it off here. You can actually have it, yeah, use sequence numbers, no. Get rid of those. And I'm using the use G0, yes, instead of G1 with high feed rate. And I do that more for having control at the machine. And I actually redid my post so my M8 command would come on not at the tool change level. And these machines are umbrella changes, so I don't preload the tools. Separate all words with space. If you really needed space, you could just click no on that. And we like using the G53 for the go home. And later on you get into G187s. That's also a tolerance for how close to the contour you can get. And what else we have? Allow helical moves. Yeah, so there's a lot of little settings here, but you can actually steer this through the post. I'm learning more about that. Okay, this is longer than I intended it to be, but the Fusion Tool library settings are